Wagwan on that. It's your boy, it's your big homies, big homie. It's GG at GGM Wrestling on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you're following both. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and make sure you drop a like if you're enjoying the content. Before I get into the questions, of course, as always, make sure you hit up figtees.co.uk for all your custom figure shirts. Use code GGPod and save yourself 20%. We are back with some more Ask GG Anything. Thank you very, very much to everyone that's put a question forward. As I say in every episode, these videos would not be possible without you guys asking me the questions. And as always, I haven't tried to think about the questions too much. I want the responses to be as natural and as off the cuff as possible. But from what I saw, there's some very, very solid questions. So let's get straight into it, shall we? First one from Graps Knowledge. Big up Knowledge every time. Double or Nothing is coming up. Besides what is announced, what else do you think will be on the card? It's a tough one to call. Me and Mex spoke about this yesterday in our AEW review, which you can check out on Mex's channel at WrestleManiac UK. We'll be doing those every week. We discussed obviously that there's only 3 weeks till the pay-per-view, and again, it just seems like some stories are just a little bit last minute. Like, you know, what a Blackpool Combat Club doing? We have no idea. It's looking like Bucks Hardys is a possibility. We're of course going to have the final of the Owen Hart tournament, which my bold prediction. Actually, check out the show on WrestleManiac UK's channel to see my prediction for the finalists for that tournament. It's tough to say, you know. Wardlow MJF with some kind of stipulation is certainly looking like it's going to be on that card. Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, possibly defending against Ricky Starks and Hobbs if we don't get that match sooner. Unless they take the belt sooner than that and we get Starks and Hobbs versus Keith Lee and Swerve at the pay-per-view, but it's 3 weeks away, man. Whatever happens, they need to pull their fingers out. But we will see. Thanks for asking the question, man. Next one from Nabil. Big up Nabil every time. What is a match or moment you wish you were in attendance for? This is a very easy answer. Rock Hogan. I still don't think, maybe apart from WrestleMania 6, Warrior Hogan, I don't think there's been such an electric crowd. And yeah, would have been crazy to be in that crowd. That's the same answer I always give. But yeah, it's definitely that. Next question from Nabil again. Oh, actually, sorry, that is the same question. Nabil, what's your guilty pleasure in wrestling? A match, a stipulation, a feud that no one else likes apart from you? I always say my guilty pleasure is WrestleMania 9. It's just very nostalgic for me, and it's just the 90s characters. So that's probably the event that's a guilty pleasure. But a match, a stipulation, or feud, Toriano matches are always fun to go back to. I'm not sure if you can count that as a guilty pleasure, but they're always very, very entertaining. Yeah, thanks for the question. At NonStop Wrestling Chat, make sure you subscribe to Barry. A very, very good person on the wrestling community. Deserves some more following, so make sure you're hitting up his channel for some wrestling reviews and rants. If you were to set up a wrestling show with an unlimited money and no hassle of anyone saying no, etc., who would be your top 5 hires from any period of time? See, that's a tough one because straight away, any period of time, I'm thinking, you know, the big box office sellers. I want my company to do well, you know? So I'm thinking of the Hogans and the Warriors, but I don't want to employ Hogan. Not anymore. But any period of time, you know, I like the workers. So I think I'll have Angle in there. Just because such a solid worker. Your top 5: Angle, Kenny Omega, Osprey, Um, Gresham. It's a very workers company, isn't it? Right, let's do it. Let's do Angle, Kenny, ZSJ, Gresham, and we need a different style. You know what? Let's bet on Mac, Ninja Mac. Thank you very much for the question. Penfold, big up Penfold every time. Do you think New Japan should be booked as strong as possible in Forbidden Door and take a clean sweep? Um, yes and no. I don't think it should be a clean sweep. I personally don't see it being a kind of brand versus brand, if I'm honest. But I think there's a question related to that, which I'll go into shortly. Um, but yeah, I definitely think they need to be booked strong. I definitely think they need to kind of just showcase these talents to the Western audience that may not be familiar with them. I know AEW fans are diehard and they know what they're getting in store for with this event. But yeah, I definitely think just for the people that may not know some of these names, we need some, showcases, some real big matches and some big wins for some of these New Japan talents. I think, yeah, definitely. Next question from Off the Mat Wrestling. If you could do a trade of one AEW guy for a WWE guy, who do you pick? Who would I like from WWE? Oh, Walter, obviously. And who would I trade him for? Jeff Hardy, because I hate Jeff Hardy. I don't hate him, but just get him away, man. It's 2022. Let's just get him off the telly regularly now, man. I don't care for this nostalgia Hardy stuff, man. Yeah. So Jeff Hardy for Walter, please. Or actually, can I do a double trade? Both the Hardy boys for Walter. They can have them both back. Good question, though. Thank you very much. Off the mat wrestling again. Thank you very much for putting two questions forward, man. Really appreciate it. Who do you see as the next three AEW champions, and who do you see dethroning Hangman? As a follow up, who you want to see as the next three, and who do you want to dethrone Hangman? Do you know what's crazy? That I think we all most AEW fans have the same vision that MJF needs the belt and he will be the best person to take it off Hangman. It's looking complicated. It might be a CM Punk run in between, depending on what happens at Double or Nothing. But to me, yeah, I want and think MJF should be the next champion just because Hangman's a great babyface and you want the biggest heel to take down the biggest babyface. So MJF is my answer to both of those questions. But in terms of who I would like to see dethrone him, right, actually let's do it this way. So I think I don't even want to say it. I think we might get the next three: Punk, MJF, Wardlow, depending on if they're really going to strap the rocket to Wardlow. And there's only been a few AEW World Champs, so I would be very surprised for them to pull the trigger on Wardlow because I just don't see it being a long run. I could be wrong, but that's just kind of the feeling I get from that. And if I could have anyone do it, um, I mean, I would have loved Cody to have dethroned MJF. I think that would have been such a clever story if he found a way to challenge for the title and get his win back and dethrone MJF. I think that would have just been poetic justice. But here we are, can't have that anymore, unfortunately. So I would say if I could have anyone, I mean, I'd have Joe wearing this, man. I want Samoa Joe wearing a world title. So and there's a bit of a story between MJF and Joe that you could really tell. So if it was me, I would do uh, the next three. So after Hangman, MJF, Samoa Joe, and then we could do Brian or Punk or even Kenny. But I still think that Mox is going to be the first two-time AEW champion. Comment down below who you think the first two-time AEW champion will be. Great question, though. Thank you very much. Dad Attitude on Twitter. What's the best version of the Bullet Club? This is controversial. I think this is probably more of an opinion thing. To me, I know Balor was the originator, and Carl Anderson, and then we had the AJ Styles run, which was great. Really started to put Bullet Club on the map. But Kenny and the Bucks, that version is my favorite, just because of all the BT stuff. And yeah, I'm just a big fan of Kenny, so that would be my favorite version. Comment down below what yours was. I'd love to hear your opinion on that as well. SCW Steve, make sure you subscribe to his channel. Big up yourself every time. Thank you very much for putting the question forward. What are some of your first memories as a wrestling fan? This is always a difficult question. It's like that question, what got you into wrestling, or what was the first bit of wrestling you watched? I honestly can't remember. I was watching wrestling from 0 years old. So the earliest memories are probably whatever, whenever I started to be able to hold memories. So I think it's going to be like WrestleMania 9 and 10, that kind of era. Those are my earliest memories, if you will, just because, that's when I could probably start remembering things. But that's, yeah, around that kind of era. So WrestleMania 9 and 10 and that kind of stuff I really hold kind of dear. But yeah, those would probably be the earliest. And I remember watching WrestleMania 6, but I wouldn't have even been born. So who knows, man? Who knows? Blacksmith Apparel. Make sure you're checking out Blacksmith Apparel. If you're a wrestling fan, if you're a football fan, if you're both, does some great wrestling jerseys. Just released, or I'm not sure if it's released yet. It may be by the time the video comes out. A Dudley Boys tie-dye style jersey that looks sick. But yeah, definitely check out Blacksmith. Thank you very much for putting the question forward. Is TNA underappreciated for its importance in what wrestling is today? The X Division, creation of stars, etc. I think it's underappreciated generally. Like recently, I've been going back and watching some TNA, and I've been loving it. I recently went and just randomly watched a few of the Monsters Balls matches, just because they were a lot of fun. But yeah, the X Division, man, like there was nothing really like that, post cruiserweight division. And it was just different, man. Like the athleticism, you weren't seeing some of the moves and the things that you were seeing on TNA, you were not seeing anywhere else. The early TNA days, you were seeing 630 splashes and Canadian destroyers and all this kind of stuff. So I definitely think it's underappreciated. In terms of creating stars, I mean, AJ, Joe, there are a few big names that, honed their craft there. So yeah, I think it is, man. I think it is underappreciated. I don't know in terms of overall impact, if see what I did there? If we didn't have TNA, what the ripple effect would be. But yeah, I don't know if this kind of flippy shit style that some people call it would be so prevalent in today's wrestling if it wasn't for TNA and the X Division. Next question from Delboy. Big up Delboy every time. Make sure you subscribe to Rest Things, the best wrestling podcast in the game. What kind of matchups do you think will happen at... Why am I fumbling? What kind of matchups do you think will happen at Forbidden Door? AEW versus New Japan, or do you think it will be a mix? I touched on it on a previous question, but I honestly don't think it's going to be a kind of brand versus brand thing. It's going to be more so Bullet Club versus everyone else. Possibly that seems to be the way it's going, with Jay White and Adam Cole and the Good Brothers getting back involved, and Juice now joining them, and Juice is going for the US title, which Moxley wants. So there's already stuff bubbling away, but I honestly think it's not going to be about brand versus brand. I would not be surprised if we get some kind of tag matches with, New Japan stars and AEW stars together, against a heel team or babyface team, whatever the combination is. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be as black and white as us versus them. I really think there's going to be a mix. You've got Best Friends in Chaos, so that stuff's already there for you to use. And again, you've got Adam Cole and possibly Red Dragon towards the Bullet Club side of things potentially. So you could have, a mix of AEW New Japan against the Bullet Club guys and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be brand versus brand, and I hope it's not, because yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we even get some AEW versus AEW singles matches maybe. But yeah, that's what I think will happen. I hope that's the case anyway, because if you start doing Invasion and New Japan at the heels and AEW the faces or whatever it is, it just gets messy. So it just needs to be, whatever feuds are happening, if it's Ospreay versus Moxley or Juice versus Moxley or whatever we get, yeah, it just needs to be those big showcase dream matches that we're dying to see, and not necessarily, as I said, us versus them. But good question, bro. Mex, big up every time. Make sure you subscribe to WrestleManiac UK. What do you want to see Dark Order do next? Something. Dark Order's a tough one, man. Like, they've been so great. Like, they've done such great things on TV, and obviously I know they do a lot on BTE, but some real good stuff, man. The whole Hangman arc that they were involved in was just so good. It's just a shame just to see them not featured as prominently as they were, because they're really great comic relief, if nothing else. And they can work as well. I wouldn't mind. Well, the trios stuff's coming up, so there can be some kind of Dark Order involvement there. Yeah, I need something from them, but yeah, I just don't know where they fit in the show at the moment. But yeah, I would love to see more of them. They're just good, man. Good comic relief and a good bunch of workers. So they just need to be booked properly. Ola, big up Ola every time. If you could pick anybody in the whole wrestling landscape to join AEW now, who would it be? Walter, of course it would be. He is the only name I currently want to see over there, maybe apart from ZSJ and New Japan names, which we're going to see anyway. Shingo is a name that I've been crying out to see in front of a Western crowd on American TV, because he's just so good. So good. And Naito as well. I'd love to see how he translates to this audience. But yeah, Walter is my number one pick. Get him out of WWE, get his name back, make him a killer again. Yeah, and let's get it popping. Next question. Knowledge again. Actually, let's save this one for last, because I'm going to need to find it. At Groovy Jimmy on Twitter, big up Jimmy every time. If you as a professional wrestler, what wrestling style would you like to work? What would I like to work? Something as less taxing on the body as possible, I would say. I mean, I'd love to be able to do a moonsault or a little flip, but probably be like a technical style, like a ZSJ, like powerhouse technical kind of combination, like a Gresham maybe, I'd say. Ola, again, if you could pick anybody in the whole of WWE to join Edge's stable, who would it be, bar Rhea Ripley? I'm not really watching the product at the moment, so I couldn't really give too much of an insight, but probably Balor. I think he's so much better as a heel, but I'm just not sure about all this judge stuff, man. Like, yeah, I don't know if I want Demon Balor again, because they washed it already. So yeah, I think it would be Balor as a heel, but I just don't want it being all spooky doing up Judge. That's the only thing I'm afraid of. And finally, Graps Knowledge again. What is your favorite bit of pro wrestling merchandise that you own? These are probably up there, but 1 second. This is probably my holy grail. I don't know how to put it. Signed Shawn Michaels figure. It's probably my number one piece, which you can check out on my channel, Wrestling Treasures. There are a few episodes out, stuff that I've gone through that you can check out. But yeah, this is my number one, man. If there was a house fire, apart from the belts, probably because they're bucket list for me. But yeah, this is a real treasure of mine. Signed Shawn Michaels. In a protective case, of course. I don't want anything damaging this bad boy. But yeah, Shawn Michaels, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. So to have a signed piece is great. I'm looking at other stuff that I could have picked up, to be fair, as well. But yeah, that's just a great piece for me, man. But that brings us to a close. That was the last question. Thank you very, very much for everyone that's put a question forward. Comment down below with any questions you have that I can answer on a future video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Please drop a like. Subscribe to all my friends. You know who they are. I'm always banging on about them on the timeline. So make sure you're subscribed to myself and all the pals that I have in this lovely wrestling community that we've built. But thank you very, very much for watching. Until next time, respect yourself. Don't neglect yourself. Peace.